I know this kind of character. I've got this guy pegged. At which point, she's again sort of looking at him and going, he's a little different, but we shall see. And once again, Cupid's sort of like, hang on a second, what's going on here? Why is she paying attention to him? And Cupid decides, right, well, I'll have a look, let's see what he's doing. And he looks over towards the devil, and the devil's sitting there all kind of in his shell and wondering what to do with this little wand he's got in his possession, because all three characters have these wands, and he's got one that kind of looks like a little devilish fork, and he sort of knows what he's supposed to do with it, but he doesn't want to, because his role, as he understands it, is going to be to cast evil upon the world below through this magic sphere. But he's just thinking to himself, I can't do that. I'm not capable of doing those evil things. What am I supposed to do with this thing? At which point Cupid's like, well, whatever, then we better get on with it. So he pulls out his wand, like he's done for thousands of years at this point, and fires it into the holographic sphere. Inside the sphere, the beam of energy strikes one of these little peep dots. We're calling them peeps because they're actually representations of people down on Earth below, in a sort of holographic technological sphere. And when he hits one of these dots, it kind of tags and has a little circle around it and comes up with a little dating profile next to it. And the idea is that he then goes and tags another one, and the two, if they're compatible, draw together. So he starts doing this process, and he's basically tagging pairs, and these pairs are starting to come together. And as he's doing this, the other characters are kind of looking at each other and getting a feel for who they are. And we get a little shot of Death looking over towards Devil, and behind her back, she's holding her death claw. It's kind of like a little prelude, because we're letting the audience know that she's ready to zap him and get rid of him if he turns evil and doesn't do things the way that she would like. In the meantime, Devil's looking down at this little wand, thinking to himself, I can't do this, I don't want to do this, and kind of just puts it away and has a look into the sphere, and he's fascinated with what's going on. We see a little bit more screen time of the paired dots coming together, and we get a close-up of one particular pair that pulls all the way together. They do a little bit of business, and then a heart pops up out of this combined pair, and we get a close-up of Devil, who gets all excited. He's watching this going on, and it's like, oh, I understand what's going on here, this is really cool. And the Death character looks at him and is like, okay, that's a bit different. It's not normally what I expect, because usually the devils are really nasty and they don't like seeing good things like this happening. So from behind her back, we see her put down the death wand, because she's feeling like she's comfortable with him and she doesn't need that sort of crutch. And Cupid's getting bored, getting a bit fed up, because he's done this for thousands of years. He is completely fed up with this. And Death starts to look at Devil and is like, okay, it's a bit different, She flicks her hair off to one side, sees if she can get a little bit of attention from him. And Cupid just goes from this bored state to, hang on, what's that? Why is she doing that? Why is she giving him attention? And she realizes that she's not getting the response that she was looking for from Devil, so she ups the stakes a little bit and starts adjusting her cleavage and sorting herself out to look good. At which point the Devil, who's kind of still jumping up and down, getting excited about what's going on in the sphere, he tries to do his best not to really pay attention to the fact that he knows that she's watching him and paying him a lot of attention, because he doesn't really know how to handle that. And we see one more shot of Cupid looking over, getting angry. He's like, what the hell, what's going on here, And as things in the sphere start to calm down a little bit, the devil sort of settles down from his excitement moment and begins to get a little bit nervous. In the corner of his eyes, he can see what Death is doing, and there she is presenting herself and flicking around things, trying to get attention. And then we get another shot where the little characters that came together, or the peeps, we're calling them, the heart rises up, and just after the heart goes away, a little baby peep pops out and starts jumping up and down. So we know what the purpose of this device is. It basically brings characters together and they have babies, and it carries on the multiplying chain. At which point we cut back to the devil, who's sitting there looking increasingly more nervous. Sorry. And where are we? He sits there tightly and controlled, but with sort of flick going on in his eye. He's got a little tick going on, and he's trying to control himself, but there's some sort of urge coming up within him, and he knows what it is, but he can't face it, and he can see out of the corner of his eyes Death is trying to get his attention still, and he doesn't know how to handle that, and he's a little bit intimidated with Cupid, and suddenly it all just becomes too much, and his instincts as a devil kick in, and he suddenly whips out the devil device wand and fires it at the sphere, and this huge blast of evil casting energy suddenly strikes the sphere, and Death is all shocked and it's like, whoa, hang on a second, what's going on here? And we see some more shots of all the little peep characters splitting up left, right and centre in all directions, and a close-up of Devil, of him sort of twitching between enjoying it and being completely and utterly appalled with what he's doing. And we see a few more shots of these, the peep characters splitting apart, going to all four corners of the globe, and all of these relationships are all breaking up everywhere. At this point, Cupid is actually chuffed. He's sitting there quite bored, but he's seen this happen a few times before, and he actually doesn't mind, because, to be frank, he's completely bored with what he does as a day job, and, he gets his kicks out of watching the other two do what they have to do.